we were talking about First Draft a second ago, and I watched the Music as Muse episode of that, and you mentioned that you are a fan of Barry Manilow. Your character Mandy in the Breaking series was inspired by Mandy.
Yes.
So, have any of your other books been inspired by him or some other musician?
No, the thing is, Music as Muse was a really hard first draft for me. Because I do listen to a lot of music outside of the writing process, but you'll never see me listening to music while I'm writing.
Yeah.
I have to keep those two things very separate. But no, it actually was funny. I do love Barry Manilow. I love him. And it kind of came to the point when I was writing the Breaking series. It's like, I need a name for my main character, and nothing felt right. And it kind of just clicked one day, and I'm like, yeah, she's a Mandy. She's totally a Mandy. So I totally have Barry to thank for that.
Right.
But no, I can't say that anything else has been inspired by music at all.
Yeah.
I have these little, it sets the tone sometimes, but never anything directly.
Right. Well, I know that you also said that you were inspired by Enrique Iglesias' song "Why Not Me." Yeah.
Yeah.
So how is that? How is that inspired you?
That song, it's funny. It kind of, I was in the process of writing the Webster Grove series. I believe it was the 4th book. And I was stuck. I was kind of at this place where I'm like, I don't know where the story is going. I know where I want it to go, but it's not moving forward. And I was listening to Enrique, and that song came on, and it just kind of suddenly something clicked for me. And that song ended up, I pulled it over and ended up listening to it a lot during the Just a Little series. And I've had to put it away. I can't listen to it anymore because I don't know. It strikes a lot of things for my early writing, but it's still not. It's not helping me now. But yeah, so that song has played a really big role in inspiring, I guess, the mood and the tone of the stories, but not so much any specific circumstances.
Right. Well, I read that much of your Breaking series was inspired by your mom and your cat and your son. So, how did they inspire you to write this series?
Well, at the beginning, when I first started writing the series, I didn't have my cat yet. I started writing Breaking Rules during NaNoWriMo last year, so in November.
It was becoming Mandy at first, wasn't it?
It was, yes. The title of that book changed like 500 times. It kind of got to the point where I'm like, I'm done. I will figure it out eventually, and it finally came to me. I was emailing a friend, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I miss this? That's exactly what this book is supposed to be called. And then the other titles kind of fell into place after that, and I'm like, yes, that was an aha moment, and it was totally awesome. My mom, she is a very wise person, and when I brought my cat home, for so long, it's just been, my kid and myself, and I finally, like, we're going to introduce this beautiful little kitten into our lives, and she was tiny. She was just this little tiny baby, and I cried for days after I brought her home because Joseph kept pestering the cat, and she was terrified of him, and she wouldn't come anywhere near me, probably because she thought I was going to be just like him.
Right.
And it kind of got to the point where I was on the phone every night with my mom crying, and I'm like, I have made the biggest mistake of my life. I should have never brought this cat home. It was fine when it was just the two of us, and now, I'm throwing this new life into the mix, and I felt awful. And I kept waiting on my mom to say, you know what, you're right, take the cat back, or bring me the cat, I'll take care of it. I wanted her to tell me I was right, that I shouldn't have gotten the cat, and it kind of got to the point where she's like, no, you know what, you have a responsibility to that cat, you have a responsibility to your son, you guys are going to grow together, you're going to change together, and it's just this constant advice that my mom gives me. Sometimes I feel a little lost, and I expect for someone to just say, hey, Tracie, you're doing things right, and my mom's always the person to say, no, you're not. She's my biggest fan, and she, of course, tells me when I'm doing things right, but she'll be the first person to call me out when I'm not.
Right.
And this was one of those circumstances where she gave me this nice big shove, and it was kind of a shove that my characters needed in the Breaking series as well. So she really fueled a lot of a lot of the inspiration for this series from the beginning to the very end.